What is up, guys? Rick Kakas here, and today we are going to be showcasing a brand new exotic weapon added into Destiny 2 with the newly released Curse of Osiris expansion, and that weapon is the Colony Exotic Grenade Launcher. Now in this video, we're going to showcase this weapon's stats and perks to talk about how it functions in game, and also take this weapon through PvE, talk about how it performs, and also PvP. And so, let's get started with the stats and the perks. Now, stats wise, you can see right off the bat, insane stability, insane handling, insane reload speed, okay velocity, but a pretty terrible blast radius. This is not going to be a weapon that you can just decimate a large group of enemies with a few shots. That's going to be more traditional grenade launchers that are able to do that. This weapon has a totally different feature, however. Its exotic perk is Insectoid Robot Grenades. Now, if that doesn't sound just awesome, and in fact, it is just awesome. What that does is a direct impact shot will still just explode this grenade launcher's projectiles normally like it would any other grenade launcher, and you can kill or wound the enemy you've just shot. But if you miss, even if you miss by a lot, it's going to spawn wherever the projectile hit an insectoid robot that is going to seek out the nearest enemy and then explode when it does reach them. In addition to that, it also has the unique perk Serve the Colony. This is essentially a glorified auto-loading holster. This weapon will automatically reload its magazine from the reserve ammunition when it's stowed away, which is fantastic for a boss fight. You can use this weapon, unload a whole magazine, and then just switch to a different weapon, unload with that. Hopefully when you go back to this weapon, it will be reloaded and you can just keep up your damage output that way. And I've just gotta say, Bungie, this is an exotic. A grenade launcher that shoots a spider bomb that seeks enemies, that is so crazy, that is so unique, and it's so much different than any other grenade launcher. Again, this is what I think of when I think of an exotic weapon, something so unique, something that would just, by the sight of it, you know exactly what it is. When you get killed by it, you know exactly what it is. This is that weapon. So hopefully they can kind of take inspiration from this style of weapon, from this design, and have some more crazy exotics coming later in Destiny 2. I hope so, at least. And so, let's talk about this weapon in PvE. Well, here, it's actually pretty decent. You get a hefty 7 rounds in a magazine, and those rounds are doing pretty substantial damage. Now note, you're only going to get 3 more rounds when you pick up a power ammo brick. So in terms of ammo consumption, this is spewing out quite a bit, and it could be having a little bit of issues with keeping up the damage if you're not getting power ammo bricks consistently. But again, in terms of that sheer damage output, it's pretty darn good. You want to go for direct impacts against the more powerful enemies, bosses and so on, because those seem to do a little bit more damage than the Insectoid robots, and it's just going to allow you to melt them with your 7-shot magazine. That's a lot of damage over a very short period of time. But the Insectoid robot perk comes up a ton. Even with a traditional grenade launcher, the enemy sidesteps or dies, and then another one is nearby, and you end up missing shots every once in a while. You tend to play very carefully with a grenade launcher because you don't want to be wasting your ammunition. Rocket launcher is kind of the same way, but with the Colony, you don't have to worry about that at all. You just shoot, and the gun does the work for you. There's a clip I like, I'll show it here, where I shot and I totally missed these 2 different Cabal snipers, the stupid Scion snipers that can get you killed if you don't take them down, and then the Insectoid robot ran right over to them, blew up, and killed them both. That clip there is how this weapon functions. It makes it so that you essentially can't miss. Even, again, if the enemy you were fighting dies and your projectile is in midair, it'll hit, spawn the robot, and seek a nearby enemy. And I really do mean, like, more than nearby, medium-by enemy, because this thing's seeking properties will track from pretty darn far away. And we'll see more of that in the PvP footage, but it is actually pretty disgusting. So in PvE, I do like this weapon. I don't think it'll necessarily end up as a top tier PvE weapon because it doesn't compete in terms of damage output with stuff like the Merciless. Even something like a rocket launch with cluster bombs is just going to sheerly output more damage than this weapon. But if you're in something like a strike, or you're in something like a public event, and you're not just concerned about your mathematical highest DPS and killing a super important boss, and you're also wanting to kill normal enemies every once in a while, this weapon does a fantastic job of that. And this is a great weapon to put on if you let your, friend or significant other who doesn't play video games, you want them to play, give them the weapon that literally can't miss, and they'll be loving the game. Now, moving on into PvP, this thing, no joke, has some serious potential, and I think you'll see that in the background gameplay. So a shot from this weapon, a single shot, seems to do around 140 damage with the whole robot Seeker. And that means 2 shots from this weapon will kill any enemy. Now, when you get power ammo for this weapon in PvP, you get 4 rounds, which means you have 2 essentially guaranteed kills. I could seriously see you running this in Trials of the 9, because unlike a sniper, unlike a rocket, unlike a fusion rifle, this is, if you shoot 2 rounds, anywhere even close to an enemy, you're pretty much guaranteed that kill. The only thing I've seen as good as that, as kind of almost guaranteeing a kill, is the Wardcliff Coil, because it's outputting so much damage, but even that, you can't use it super far range, and this gets 4 rounds, so that's 2 kills. The Wardcliff Coil gets 1 single round. So if you are in a game type, again, like Trials of the 9, where you only have 4 opponents, you're not worried about preserving your ammo, you have 2 nearly guaranteed kills. And again, you can see that from the background gameplay. I shoot not even close to people, and I still am getting hit markers, and I still am getting kills, and these seeking robots are gross. If you can just get the quick double tap, boom, on someone, they're dead. There's nothing you can do about it. It's very, very powerful. Now, like I was saying a little bit earlier, this is good for stuff like Trials, but maybe not so good for stuff just like the normal Crucible. It does guarantee those kills, but in terms of sheer efficiency of ammo, you can do better. Something like the main ingredient. Every single shot can kill. It is potentially lethal. Whereas this, it doesn't have that lethality of something, and that, much more consistent nature, per se, of going absolutely off with a fusion rifle, or even with a sniper rifle, or even with a shotgun. Every shot from those weapons can potentially get a kill, whereas this is much more often going to be a 2-shot kill. But also, I think what I said in PvE about it being so easy to use, give it to your friend who doesn't play, that kind of applies to PvP as well. If you're someone who isn't that great in PvP, can't hit those snipes, isn't that great with shotguns, maybe put this thing on, because again, it's very, very likely that you're going to get kills whenever you get ammo for this weapon, because it just doesn't miss, and the seeking properties are insane. So, honestly, expect to see more of this weapon in PvP. So, overall, if I was to give this weapon a ranking, well, it certainly ranks high on the fun factor and the cool factor, but in terms of practicality, which I'm sure more of you guys are interested in, well, in PvE, it's very efficient, very good at killing just normal tier enemies, and very, very easy to use if you're not a player who's hitting all of their shots. But raw damage output, as we've said, just not as high as some of the other options. So in PvE, maybe somewhere around a 6 or 7 out of 10 in terms of sheer effectiveness. Whereas in PvP, it's a lot harder. I think the guaranteed kills, essentially guaranteed kills, the insane seeking properties, that's gotta make it rank very, very high. It doesn't, have the option to go on massive kill sprees. You're not gonna be using this like you use a main ingredient and going on a 4 kill spree and then getting more power ammo and doing even more. But you are gonna guarantee those 2 kills. So I think there, probably a 7 or 8 out of 10. I think overall I would rank the Colony as a 7.5 out of 10. It certainly, in effectiveness, can be beat by other weapons, but it is a very desirable weapon. It's definitely got some good attributes in both sections of the game. It's something that I would definitely recommend you guys go out and try to get. And so guys, that is it for the video. I hope you enjoyed and found this informative. If you did, please remember to help me out by simply rating and especially sharing this video. If you guys want to see more Destiny 2 content similar to this, don't be afraid to slap that subscribe button. And if you guys want to support myself and the channel, check out the official merch linked in the description down below. Now, if you guys want to get in touch with me and keep up to date with the latest channel activity, the best way is to follow me on Twitter at RickCacus. That's linked in the description down below, as is my Twitch channel, which you can also follow. Again, I hope you enjoyed the video, and as always, have a good day.